The scale of her work had changed. She indeed started working on large canvases using gouache instead of traditional watercolors. Working with the late period, it becomes obvious that her works are of a large scale. Here, acquired experience was connected to working transformations. The National Museum of Ukrainian Folk Decorative Art, the Kiev Society of Antiques and Art, and expeditions that covered practically all of Ukraine laid the beginning of this collection. The meager donations of private citizens were later turned into the richest collection of folk art in the country. Today it boasts more than 78,000 works of folk and professional decorative art of Ukraine. Paper, gouache, and a deep purple background. Such color gives on somewhat of a negative mood, perhaps. This time a lion is depicted in yellow, and once again there is a young but broken oak tree. Sometimes you feel some regret that your young life and that very same nature is broken. Another story of Maria Prymachenko about a lion is called "The Lion Needed to Cross the River." It isn't too optimistic at first glance, but the true feature of the picture is that it brings joy to people. Moreover, it isn't the only paradox in her works. What other paradoxes were full of life in the creative of the works of Maria Prymachenko? The house of Maria Prymachenko was full of work in 1965 in the village of Bolotnaya. A year ago, Maria Prymachenko was nominated for the Taras Shevchenko State Prize. The first attempt turned out to be unsuccessful. Therefore, the painter didn't abandon her work and took to it with even greater enthusiasm. In 1966, the Ukrainian painter presented in an exhibition a large series of her works called "People for Joy." Works concerning the lion could be seen precisely in these works. The lion has broken the oak tree, lion guests, peephole on the grass, etc. Prymachenko gained the title of laureate of the Taras Shevchenko National Award for this wonderful collection of images. By the way, Maria Prymachenko is one of the first folk painters who received this award. In the 1930s, the prominent painter was operated on, but she was not completely rid of her illness. Therefore, she, like Lesya Ukrainka, created overcoming pain. Despite all difficulties and trials, the painter didn't lose her cheerful view to life. She worked for the sake of people's joy. Most works are full of positive emotions. It was not without reason that she named the series of her works "People for Joy." She was thinking about people even when depicting such a massive beast as the proud lion. As Master said, she painted flowers because she loved people and wanted all of them to be happy and as free as flowers all over the world are. This fantastic work called "People for Joy" was a turning point in the life or work of Maria Prymachenko. Right after the exhibition in 1966, when she received the Taras Shevchenko Award, Prymachenko became very popular. Her social circle has enlarged. Art experts and other painters paid visits to her on a regular basis. Serhiy Parajanov, the outstanding Armenian and Ukrainian filmmaker, was a close friend of Prymachenko's. Russian journalist Yuri Rost was also proud of his friendship with the Ukrainian painter. In fact, this was the starry time of Maria Prymachenko. However, the painter didn't bathe in her rays of glory, but instead devoted time to working day and night on her paintings, just as she had done earlier.
Вона була надзвичайно трудолюбива.
She was so diligent in her everyday work, Prymachenko woke up with the sun and immediately sat in front of her easel. Good morning, mother. Good morning, my son. Have you already had breakfast today? Not yet. I haven't finished yet. Let me finish this work and then I will come and join you. Maybe I'll bring you here. Thank you, but I need some more time alone to finish this work. The pictures of Maria Prymachenko were popular both in the Soviet Union and in the world. Prague, Sofia, Warsaw, Montreal. This isn't the full list of cities where the works of the simple Ukrainian woman were admired. By the way, not only folk masters but also professional artists could envy her innovative form of art.
Вона не боїться співставляти такі.
She mixes colors which aren't used by ordinary painters. Prymachenko often works in the Fauvism style. Sometimes she didn't have colors she needed.
Ну і знову ж в неї не завжди були фарби, які потрібні були. От, наприклад,
For example, there was a lack of blue paint. She used blue in as a background in her next pictures.
ласеньку, як тло.
Amazingly, but she always found time for others in such a fast rhythm of life. In the village of Bolotne, she founded a small school for young painters.
Діти з Болотні приходили до неї.
Children from all around studied in her small private school. She shared her secrets of how to draw. Among them, there were Fedor, the son of Katerina Yushchenko, who later became her daughter-in-law. The series People for Joy marked the beginning of a new creative phase. The main characteristics are change in background, colors, and composition. They became bright and sunny. From time to time, curious cases happened to Maria Prymachenko. People admiring her work not always understood what the painter really wanted to convey in them to those who admired her paintings. Sometimes she was asked about her works and images. Why don't you depict people in your pictures? Why do you think so? Just take a look at my works.
В цих тваринах ми можемо побачити і людські очі, і людські погляд.
We can see human eyes and the looks in the images of these animals. Depending on the painted image, we can see a description of a man, a beast man. Both a positive and negative image, moral and ethical aspects are practically visible in many of her works.
Етична сторона також прослідковується в її роботах.
In the 1970s, the master worked on techniques she used in the early 60s when she drew multiple subject compositions. She paid attention to folk pictures and various folk stories.
В 70-ті роки з'являється.
One more detail appeared in her works in the 70s. She decided to sign them. The first marks were seen in 5960s. She simply called them a green crocodile, five-headed snake, or five-headed bird. All of them were simple.
Змія, чи п'ятиголовий птах, чи це, такі от написи.
Maria Prymachenko wrote explanations to her paintings on the back of them. They helped understand the painter's mood. Quite often these inscriptions pointed to socio-political events which took place in the country or in the world. Here you can find another paradox.
Майже все життя вона прожила в своєму селі.
She lived almost all her life in her native village and never left it. However, she knew what was happening in the world. She tried to reflect and depict everything in her works.
Відображала в своїх роботах.
Look at the painting from 1985, The Lion Had to Cross the River. It is a vivid example of the development of artistic techniques. It seemed the lion was the same character.
І він знову ламає.
The lion breaks the oak again and again. Its image changes and its eyes or mouth are different in every painting. He becomes something, then he has to cross, and that's it. Prymachenko wrote on the black side of the painting, the lion needed to cross the river and not get his legs dirty. Due to this message, it becomes obvious that the lion didn't break the oak tree for the sake of pleasure. In 1963, it was simply written, "The lion has broken the oak, and it's all." So the lion did this for a practical purpose. By the way, it was not only the lion that moved from one picture to another.
В 70-ті, 80-ті роки.
She seemed to repeat her paintings Beast in 1970s, 1980s. Though they have quite a different perception, the scale changes. Previously, her works weren't large, and now huge sheets of paper were used in her works.
Ранні роботи були невеличкі, то тут уже на цілий великий аркуш паперу.
The Lion Wanted to Cross the River is one of the last works of Prymachenko, which is presented in the National Museum of Ukrainian Folk Decorative Art. The latest works brought by the museum date back to 1987.
Музей взагалі дуже багато зробив для того,
The museum staff performed great work to make Maria Prymachenko famous all over the world. More than 90 exhibitions with her works were presented since 1936. They formed both personal exhibitions and general folk art.
роботи Марії Примаченко – це і персональні виставки, це і загальні виставки народного мистецтва.
Maria Prymachenko, the great Ukrainian artist and a representative of native art, died on August 18, 1997. However, her works to this day continue to amaze the world. More than 600 works of Maria Prymachenko are presented in the National Museum of Ukrainian Folk Decorative Art, but it is not the only place where the priceless masterpieces are exhibited.
Її роботи в багатьох музеях України.
Her works are in many museums of Ukraine. She was a very generous woman who presented her masterpieces to her friends.
Підписувала, дарувала з дарчими, з привітаннями. Такі от.
Я знаю людей, які в Києві квартири
I know Kyiv citizens whose apartments are decorated with works by Maria Prymachenko. Many of her works are outside of Ukraine. She generously presented her works to friends and people very often.
Її роботи побували.
Her works were presented all over the world: Japan, America, France, and Poland. At the Biennale in Japan, people got the possibility to become familiar with her works that presented Ukraine. Maria Prymachenko never depicted politicians. She wasn't a political person, experts say. Nevertheless, people see in this painting the leader of the Soviet Union and executioner of Ukrainian people, Joseph Stalin. There is a detail, a cap on the head of the beast. What did the painter want to say? Did she embody Stalin in the image of the fantastic beast? For many decades to come, these questions will be interesting for both common viewers and researchers of the artist's life.